IVM.
कृपया ध्यान दीजिए, the language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen yaar, don't be so conservative. Okay, before we bring in our lovely guest to the show, Cyrus says, let me just quickly tell you, I've picked up another bad mannerism that I'm seeing in urban India. That is youngsters, while doing their online classes, every time they answer a question from the teacher, have to say, ma'am, I don't know if this is the correct answer, but then I'll try. Why can't we why do you have to be so goody-goody and say, ma'am, I don't know if it's the correct answer? Just say somebody, I don't care what the answer is, I'm just wasting time so the class ends fast. So I can talk more and you can talk less. That's the nobility that has to be employed when you go into an education from the side of the pupil. At least that's what I thought growing up.
Namaskar, this is Ashish Vidyarthi. Yes, my friend, these are challenging times, but in these challenging times, we can create something extraordinary. Do take time to listen to my podcast, Begin the Journey, available on the IVM Podcast, website, app, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Remember, we have a great opportunity called life. Cheers.
Speaking of growing up, here's a man who's helped a lot of generations grow up with his many books. Chetan Bhagat, counting all the money in the world, sitting in Singapore with his 11th blockbuster about to release. Let me tell you, he's the most successful English author in India. And that's saying something, because we are a country of some 70 million English people, another 100 million who pretend they don't know English till you start giving galis. Welcome, Mr. Chetan Bhagat, Lord Chetan Bhagat, sir, Shri, Shriman, Padma Bhushan, Padma Vibhushan, all will come in time.
None of this, no Padma for me.
हो जाएगा सर, तो लॉबी करना पड़ेगा, मैं करता.
यार इतना इंटरेस्ट नहीं है, सिर्फ एक पद्मा लक्ष्मी में एक टाइम पे आया था इंटरेस्ट, बट नहीं उसने ऐसे नहीं, बिकॉज शी चोज अ ऑथर ना, तो मुझे लगा मतलब
but she chose an experienced hand. Bhai, you're still.
She was a very literary kind of author, not Chetan Bhagat जैसा उसके वो हाथ नहीं डालती होगी.
The more fun you make of yourself as being non-literary, the more literary you become. You know that, no? That's the paradox. हाँ, वो भी है.
But thanks for the great introduction. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि पैसे गिन रहे हैं, सिर्फ कोरोना खत्म होने की वेट कर रहे हैं.
Chetan, you and I are same batch, na? 2004-05, I think your career started. Similar to mine. Of course, you've done much better, but that's not important.
What's important? All done well.
No, I remember you from, I think, one night at a call center. You'd come to
I came to MTV. What happened to MTV, man?
No, but they were all very excited when you came because that book, you know,
both of us have done better than MTV. Let's just put it there.
Yeah, I think that's true. Let's not lie anymore. But yeah, I'm just going back then to think of how popular it was. And normally you think, I think that was the book number 2. Yeah, book number 1. Book number 2.
That was book number 2. That was like just right after 1 year. But that was my first brush with fame.
Correct. No, my point is, after that, we thought that most of these authors have one big book and then they disappear. Let's be honest, I won't take names. A lot of them. It's like the one song.
Most of them. Most of them. If you say, इस author की कोई book याद करो, तो लोग एक या दो बता पाएंगे आपको. Max एक ही होती है usually.
Exactly. So, but look at the body of work after that. You've had 11 books in all, and almost all of them have topped the last one, which is a lot of pressure also. I would think that you should just stop now and do something else. How much further can you go?
Yeah, you know, it's a good thing because it was a thing in my head that because I was quitting my banking career and all, I thought I want to if I'm quitting, of course, I want to make a career out of it. I don't want कि एक hit हो गई अब, you know, like हर जगह जाके जैसे एक गाना hit हो गया आपका, वो एक मूवी में भी था ना, वो कोई आई थी ह्यू ग्रांट की पिक्चर, इसमें उसका एक गाना हिट हो जाता है और उसकी और वो रॉयल्टी पूरी जिंदगी भर कमाते हैं उसकी क्रिसमस का.
Which is also not a bad concept, honestly, for lazy people like myself.
What do you do all day? So I wanted a career and I wanted to make sure that there's a body of work where people look forward to my. So this is the 11th book. There've been 2 non-fiction. This is the One Arranged Murder. The new one is the 9th novel. And yes, there is pressure. When I write it, we give it to some test readers, and I literally there's a questionnaire, and in the questionnaire, rank this book compared to the previous ones. And there's all the list of all the names, and I want to make sure that it's in the top 3. So that means you're maintaining, and it's very hard to maintain because लगता है हाँ यार वो एक मजा आया था पर वो आगे बात बनी नहीं. वो नहीं होना चाहिए.
To give us some insider scoop इसमें ना, तो this One Arranged Murder, which we'll get into properly right now, what was the reaction from your sample study, test readers?
It was very good because, I have moved from romance to like pure love stories to murder mysteries, but I do very Chetan Bhagat kind of murder mysteries. They're fun. There is a humor. There is a love story. So it's like a Punjabi joint family mein murder ho gaya. So you know how you have those British stories where there's a party mein murder and the butler did it.
And they're all well dressed.
Yeah, but now I thought, why not make the same setting in a Punjabi marriage where there's lots of ego and relationships and rishte and chacha and bua and taya and tai and ek murder ho gaya. So then kisne kiya? So I thought that will make a very interesting. It's two states meets murder.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens if you're married for so long.
You'd think the Punjabi wedding. You think the Punjabi wedding could not get any more deep in the sense that we have exploited it so much in film and on screen, literary, written word, etc. But if I'm thinking about it, I can't think of murder and a Punjabi wedding.
Murder. No, in fact, the book's name was first One Arranged Marriage. And if you see the title or the cover of the book also, it's One Arranged Marriage, marriage cut karke murder kiya. So, like the one arranged murder now. So, it's arranged marriage and a play on that arranged murder.
Or maybe
that has not happened.
Or maybe the philosopher is asking the question ki shadi or murder mein kya farak hai? Or rank which one is more painful?
Planning दोनों में लगती है ना. Arranged marriage में भी marriage आपको arrange करनी हो तो planning लगेगी और murder में भी planning लगती है.
No. Or is marriage murder in any case? It's a story for another day.
वो तो शादीशुदा लोग बताएंगे.
Listen, we saw
कह रहे फर्क क्या है?
Sir, मेरी बीवी यहीं पे है. I have to be very
आपने हेडफोन लगाए सर, आप भूल गए.
Yeah, let's stick to the plot. Otherwise, you'll have two arranged murders for one for one arranged murder book. No, so you've done a promo here, which I found very interesting. You all shot it. I thought the film is already out for a second. I got fooled.
No, it's just a book promo.
Yes. Correct, a book promo, which is like that's fabulous. You know, just crossing the zones there.
Yeah, because firstly, it's quite hard to make it because in a movie promo, you cut the movie ka 1 minute. There is a movie and you have to cut 1 minute.
Correct.
Here there is no movie. You have to make the promo from 0 to 1 minute. You have to shoot exactly the promo. And the idea was all the youngsters who read my books, they're all obsessed with their phones and they are, on video all day.
How to reach them.
And how to reach them. So I give them a 1 minute. I leave them on a cliffhanger. And if they want to know more, then, they just have to read the book.
But do you feel people are still reading or are they waiting for you to make the movie?
They'll read. No. There is a lot of interest. In fact, I was going to release this book in April, May. And then because of the great lockdown, everything was stopped. So now we were nervous ki abhi kare ki nahi, because there's nobody's really releasing anything like that much right now. But it also was a great time because there are no movies and there is no cricket really. So people are kind of bored. Same web series, wohi kitna dekho.
So actually it's a good time. Because when you think about it, we have exhausted the internet.
My online sales are very good. My Amazon, Flipkart sales, a lot of my readers just buy from there. They don't go to bookshop. Bookshops are suffering right now.
The bookshops are already suffering, sir. The bookshops are already suffering. Only you big guys are surviving. All the middle of the line authors, they're outside my house begging and all it. So I feel really bad for them. 25 years in the business and no money on the table.
The bookstore is a very interesting discussion, almost a separate discussion.
Please tell us.
Do you even need a bookstore? I know we have nostalgia.
Okay, romantic cheese hai usme, na? You are for our generation.
Irani cafes, right?
Yeah, exactly that.
so you need a couple of them, but not like, they're not very viable because they're selling coffee at 15 rupees and Starbucks is at 200 rupees. So you can't compete.
So the whole concept has changed. You go to get a coffee, not buy a book when you go to a bookstore, fair enough. But I feel a little bad because growing up in 80s and 90s, I think we all with books, book sales. I remember AK Rupiya pe you used to, they would have this ridiculous sale for $1 and people would go mad, spending the whole day looking at different books.
No, I love bookstores. I think there is a benefit and value to browsing, spending a couple of hours. I even Crossword Camps Corner, for example, I've spent a lot of time there and picked up many things. But, it's just the real estate price versus the online, which is storing the book somewhere in a go down in Dahisar. Camps Corner versus Dahisar. Literally that's what's happening. And you can keep as many books as you want in Dahisar. Whereas Camps Corner, there's a limit to the square footage you have. So the business-wise, it doesn't work very well. Apart from bestsellers, you'll have an airport bookshop. You will have some bookshops, but at the point of purchase. But yeah, I think this is the future.
Where is the romance in online books? I mean, it's a singular sort of
Where is
self-centered
the romance
activity.
in where is the romance in anything online?
Shall we blame the government?
We can, or but like even like last time we did this podcast, I was with you. We did it together, and it was, of course, this is also fun, but that's a different level of connection. Same for office meeting. Ask people who are doing these Zoom calls, working in office. Firstly, working in office sucks. You can't do it. I can't do it. But those who are doing it first loved the work from home, but 3 days later they hate it because it's something about Zoom calls all day, 6 Zoom calls in a day, 7 Zoom calls in a day. It's very draining. So I think same for books. Until you're out there in a bookstore asking the bookshop assistant, "Arey yaar, I enjoy reading this. Kaun si loon?" I think that is gone now.
So you're
Now
saying it will
CD
survive,
tells you.
but you're saying it will survive.
It's a different format. Yes, by metro stations, by the train stations, by
Airports and train stations are
airport.
one place. I agree with you. When you suddenly
Yeah,
decide you need to read, the non-reader
yeah.
decides to read. Huh.
Suddenly, a lot of footfalls, and कि network नहीं ना आता flight में.
Yeah.
तो क्या करें?
Thank God for
So,
that.
but अभी भी downloadable, and that network is about to come to the air soon. But I think there will be books. But online books, people are buying. See, I am not in the business of retail. I am in the business of books. And I think online books people are buying. And sometimes people are just buying ebooks also. That's also growing. That doesn't even need a physical book. But people are still reading. So as long as that's there, and I think books will remain, people are getting sick of all the non-stop YouTube and all these content, on Instagram, which is very soul. It doesn't nourish the soul. A book is written with a lot of effort. Any book, 1 year of work goes into a book. So when you read that in a couple of hours, you're reading a year of effort. Whereas a 2-minute Insta video, okay, 1 day it took to make it, not even 1 day. Some people just say Insta live laga diya, and people are wasting time. So I think people, when they will go back to books when they're done with this.
So maybe we are clinging too much to the medium. Books
Yeah.
have to be read in print and all that. If you go back to our ancestors, the cavemen, they were reading off the wall. You kill your wife, then put a picture of that on the wall, and then the next person would kill their whoever and move on like that. So I think it just should we just accept that the world changes and that
The world changes.
but will
Yes,
continue.
absolutely. That's what I'm saying. The big format bookstore, even the very charming, very nostalgic place for a lot of movie settings, it's not going to remain beyond
Exactly
a point. There will be a few. Like candles are still there, but they're not there as much as when bulbs weren't there, right? So I just want to save books. I'm okay with the retail of books going away, which is, I feel sad. These guys have sold a lot of my books. I feel bad for the bookstore chains, but I've seen so many chains go. I mean, my book launches have been done by different chains, and they are not around anymore. I feel really
What do you
bad.
say?
Yeah, not because
The
of
moment the book launch of Chetan Bhagat happens, the chain shuts down. That's amazing. Huh?
No, but that just tells you the industry. It's not me, but there was a chain called Odyssey in the south, which was very big. There was Star Bazaar, Big Bazaar had started. There was Landmark.
All gone.
Yeah,
What are you
they're
saying?
gone, man. Crossword is the only one left, which, I didn't do it. The pandemic is going to, like, somehow, Crossword is backed by some big names that they're part of Shoppers Stop and all that. So they are like kind of literally holding their claws, and they will do okay because they have these mall locations and all that. But it's still, out of 5, 3 or 4 are gone. So what do you call that? It's not like they're 100% gone. But they are not what when we were 10, 15 years ago, when I used to, like different bookstore chains used to tell me, why don't you launch here? Why don't you launch here? Now it's like, we are not there anymore.
It's a bit sad. I suppose you have to just let go. It's a generational thing. The next generation won't even understand what you're talking about. As long as you read Chetan Bhagat and you make some money, what does it matter? Right?
Yeah, and the video libraries, remember VHS, when we were small, how you used to go and get porn.
Then, thank God, someone who understands. Yeah.
And
Imagine how many of us, learn.
Yeah, and we would go in a
everything.
school uniform. Remember, we'd go to school uniform and pretend we are all grown up. And you can see that we are wearing shorts and wearing a Nehru House badge and the acting all cool. Like, sir, we'll ask for 3 random movies. Ek Mother India de do, ek Namak Halal de do, or ek wo.
Exactly. You mix it up so that he doesn't realize Debbie does dialysis in the middle of Namak Halal and Namak Haram. Unbelievable. But we had the same story. What we used to do is with the one guy in every class looks like an uncle. there has to be one guy. जो 14-15 साल पे he's already पहुंच गया 40-50 in looks, hair all over and all that, what jawline. And so we would take that guy. We had a guy called Mohan. Mohan would go and he would stand in the thing and it passed. I think there was a very good gentleman selling the video cassettes called Balbir, who knew very well that they are 15-year-olds. But morality is always, a grey area.
Yeah, business first.
Yeah.
And but I'll tell you one, the suckiest part of porn in our days, which this generation doesn't know.
Yeah.
Print खराब है.
Print खराब है मतलब?
जब वीडियो टेप लेके आते थे उसका print that it was all grainy.
That way.
And then you have to take it out again and go back to the shop. भैया print खराब है.
But how desperate were we, Chetan Bhagat bhai? How desperate were we that we never argued? We still saw it.
We still saw it as a group. We would put it even in IIT. I remember they would have these nights. They'd hire a video and TV, and people are watching it as a group.
And what kind of heterosexual men? We all watched collectively. 10, 12 guys in one room. When you're reminding me of this.
But if you ever tell them that you are how about doing something with another guy, they would jump. But they're totally fine watching.
Yeah. No, what you're saying is spot on. I'm just thinking we all used to, because they had to find a guy who had a house with a video, no parents, all that. So it's always collective. There's always a tribe watching. They're all men.
Girls find out what guys are up to in boys' hostel. They would never be with men. I'm
telling you. I think we all need therapy also. We've not even thought it through. But my God. Now
I weird analogy, but in some ways that has evolved.
Not a weird analogy. Write a book about that. Growing up and how we...
Maybe.
Single X versus double X versus triple X. Huh.
Yeah, so we were on books. So the books will remain. And, I think so.
One arranged porn. Sorry, one arranged murder.
One arranged murder, yes.
So it's a tongue-in-cheek, I haven't read it, but what we've seen and even the promo seems a little more on the funny side, tongue-in-cheek. And
yeah, it's a funny kind of murder mystery because it's a Punjabi family and everyone has their prejudices. And, like this girl, if you see the promo, this girl is doing Karwa Chauth. And she was a little overweight, and even the boy she's marrying is a bit overweight. And when she's found dead, then the people in the house, the dadi and all say, "अरे कमजोरी आ गई होगी, मैंने कहा भी था मत करवा चौथ, ऐसे सर पे चक्कर आ गया, कुछ खाया नहीं था." So for me, it's a murder mystery, but it's humor. And like in the US, when you have a murder mystery, like the police comes, they just come say FBI, and then they come in, right? But in India, ऐसे नहीं होगा. The policeman will come. अच्छा चाय लेंगे आप थोड़ा समोसे खा लो. So first they will have samosa, then they will dip it in the chutney, then they'll say अच्छा कब murder हुआ था, कैसे हुआ था. So it's a bit. I think this is the reality of India, which is unintentionally funny sometimes. But I enjoy that almost more. Of course, there is suspense, there is a twist, there is a murder mystery. But those have been done before. It's not like it's what do I bring unique is this whole Indian in the middle of the shadi, in the middle of a roka. Some murder happened.
But this can't be a slice of Chetan Bhagat's actual life because you had a love marriage, right?
Yeah. So that is done.
Dynamic was different.
This
exactly.
is based on certain other. But the seed of this story came from a real incident. If you can Google it, Gurgaon Karwa Chauth death. There is a girl who went up the building to celebrate Karwa Chauth and somebody pushed her. It was
unsolved murder.
Actually, no, I don't know about that. But then when it came, it stayed with me because. Actually, I thought about it. It's an excellent time to murder someone because they will be on the chat at that time, right when the moon comes out. They know 7:12, she will be there hungry. She has to go up there and see the moon. She will be there, one push and gone.
So it's murder made easy. All you have to do is be at the right place. You don't have to do much more than that.
Yeah, so you was there. Otherwise,
you're scaring me, huh? Your mind has gone from porn, which I empathize with, to how to murder someone successfully, and it's almost like foolproof.
See, I think as a murder mystery writer, it's very weird, but you always try to find, there's an elegance in doing the perfect murder.
Tell me one thing, when you do your books like this, now there's so many that you've written, or even when you're doing your plots and all, do you talk to the friends, family, wife, parents? Do you get feedback from the close guys?
Yeah, a lot. Because, the pressure of a book, and I get feedback and I change it. And even at the publisher level, we have several editors. I have my own editor now who's been a friend. So that is a freelance kind of another person who works with me. So there is a test readers, then there is my own editor, then there's a publisher's editors, then there's literally we give it to everyone at the publisher, all the staff, the sales guy also is reading it. Even the guy who gets the water every day is also, I make them read. Today I'm in a co-working space here in Singapore. So I made the Chinese lady who's at the reception read my book, and she doesn't understand any of the Punjabi references, and obviously she has no clue what is all this.
Murder is a murder.
Murder is a murder, and then I ask her what did she. So I can't get her to laugh at the humor. but then she can give me some other input, that is the story working or not, what is there anything confusing for her, so like
No, but I'm asking you because if they criticize or they don't like something, how do you react? For example, my wife always tells me it's rubbish. She never says anything positive. So now I don't bother. And my mother only says
my
positive
wife is a
things.
tricky one, but I mean, I tell her, please, I say give constructive feedback. I mean, I say, okay, what is it that you would like change, not like rubbish and bad, and what is this you are doing? And I think also like my wife's taste is a little different. It's not. She doesn't read Chetan Bhagat and all.
She likes you, not the artist.
I'm not sure about liking me, but that तो अभी फंस गई है. पर अभी book में तो she has a choice ना भी पढ़ो तो ठीक है.
Along with the bookshops, they have to close down Marriage is the Institution. I personally have been saying this from the beginning. So you have to keep checking piche kaun hai. I've been saying in the beginning, marriage, the biggest problem is that it's permanence. Permanence is a wrong concept for human society. Yeah. Everything, if we keep it like the president election or prime ministerial election, कि 4-5 साल के बाद दोनों candidates आते हैं, present करते हैं case, and वो presentation के बाद, you decide amongst yourselves.
And the whole khandan votes again. Wow, that's good.
That could be prejudice. Something, just let the two of them vote. Let the two people vote and end the matter quickly.
Yeah,
it's a right to veto, basically.
Marriage is, they say marriage is love with the government involved. So that's what it is.
Sir, but anyway, you're far away in Singapore, so Indian laws don't apply. You can do what you want.
No, they do apply, man. That's
all right.
And whenever the government gets involved, you know what happens. So
I'm not going to say anything. I love my government.
We all love.
And then they awkwardly laugh from across two countries, not two states, two countries. Okay, we'll take a quick break. Chetan will come back because I think you want us to do a concise episode, and we'll talk a little bit more, but I want to get your feedback now about life in general during lockdown, because we haven't got the chance to talk to you in the last few months. So a quick break, start reading. It's One Arranged Murder. Actually, it comes out on September 24th. Am I right?
Yeah, but you can pre-order it on Amazon, on Flipkart, and then you get a first day, first show. Aapke ghar pe aayegi. 175 rupees only. Come on, guys. It's really
for $200, Chetan will read it out to you on the phone.
That also. And I get dance also.
dollars, Singapore dollars.
Okay. Just pre-order the book. It's okay. I mean,
just pre-order the book. Mother. Okay, that's it. We take a break.
I want to thank Intel for supporting our show. We're all loving working from home, but let's be honest, there are complications to this. For example, getting help from IT folks if your PC is down can be a challenge because you can't just walk up to the IT support desk anymore to get your issues sorted out. Well, you'll be happy to hear that I have a solution for all your work from home pains. The Intel vPro platform. The platform comes packed with Intel Active Management technology that lets your IT teams remotely manage your system, fix the problems even when the PCs aren't near them or are unresponsive, especially with the reduced desk site visits. So it means more time getting your work done and less time spent on getting support. What's more, the vPro platform also maximizes all your PC security, stability, and performance needs. Visit intel.in/more with vPro, that's VPRO, to discover how you can do more of what you want and less of what you don't. If you're listening on the IVM Podcast Android app, you will be able to click the link that's visible to you now.
Okay, we're back here with Chetan Bhagat, who's got the book number 11. Very interesting, Chetan, that artists have not been affected in terms of creativity within these 5-6 months. I mean, you said you were ready by April to bring out the book, for example. So you just kept on going. As far as
no, so I had nothing. I mean, I do a lot of these talks and motivational talks and events, and I was planning to launch the book. So that launch got cancelled. I was trying to get some web series kind of thing done. Everything got stalled. So literally the only thing in the world I could do sitting here, I happened to be in Singapore when this all was announced, was to write again. So I've written my next book also. What to do?
It's done? Ready?
It's almost ready, but that's not the one that's coming now. But in a way, it kind of like I had nothing to do with it. Actually, a writer's life is almost a lockdown half the time because it's sitting and writing. But I was not prepared for it because I had just finished a book. I'd finished a book. I was hoping that I'll have One Murder out. Then I'll chill, I'll travel. But wo hua nahi. So then I did the next book, which is now I'm done with that also. And then I said, you know what? Now let's launch, at least do something. I'm tired of being locked down. So they said, okay, we'll release this one.
One Arranged Murder is the one we are launching right now. But the second book is ready. And is that to do with lockdown?
A little bit, but not too much. Like any new book that comes, you'll have to mention or refer to the lockdown at least. I think the world,
it's too
if I've set the book in Yeah, even if I said it in 2020, or even if you said it in 21 or 22, you will have to refer to the lockdown. It has huge effects on businesses, on relationships, on people, so little bit. But I'm not written a book on Corona. I mean, I have enough Corona things happening around. I don't want to again write about Corona. I'm sick of it.
Now that you mention it, let's get into that for a little bit because we can't avoid it. It's there, and I mean, you're stuck now in the same house with the same people and all that. So many months have passed. How's it been in Singapore? Is it a little better than Bombay?
So Singapore also had a very strict lockdown for a while. The only and that kind of ended towards the end of June. In that lockdown, everything was shut. The only thing you could do was go out for a walk, which I think in India even that wasn't allowed for a while.
No.
But that was allowed. You could go for. But then since then they have, I think, contained the cases or whatever, and now a lot of things are open. You need the mask. But restaurants are open, gyms are open, swimming pools are open.
Schools?
Schools have just opened. Yeah, they've just opened, which is good because my kids, everybody sitting in the house all day for months. You can unlearn a lot of years of learning you've done. So I think they're going now. They wear a face mask in school and all. And they were also on these Zoom classes, which is again kind of stupid and pointless because you can Google the answer and tell the teacher.
Exactly. Plus, no human interaction. How much to do this non-stop?
Yeah. So I think the things are a lot better here. They're also very particular. Singapore loves cleaning up, even if there is no Corona. Singapore loves to keep things clean. So in a way, there is like Singapore is like, we got this, man. ये तो हमें आता है. हमें दिन में 5 बार तो हम वैसे ही साफ कर रहे थे. अब 10 बार करेंगे. So everything is kept on getting cleaned. My co-working space where I am has opened again, and literally everywhere there are stickers saying sanitized every 2 hours. Sanitized every 2 hours. There's someone behind you of me also. So they are very particular about it, and I think that's just how things are right now.
So what does Chetan Bhagat feel about the, let's say, Mumbai lockdown?
I have his phone. Like I'm showing you. Can you see this?
Yeah.
It's quick. Yeah. This is written on the phone. Can you read?
After this is over, I'm going to wear that on my pant. Yeah. Squeaky clean, sanitized every 2 hours.
Yes.
So what is your call now? Your other city, Mumbai. Do you feel we've overdone it? We waited too long? That there's
Mumbai is maximum city, man. So it has to be maximum in this also. And I think it's, I don't know, man. I mean, all over India, I think India is now, yesterday the GDP numbers came out, and I know people don't find GDP as exciting as solving murder cases on TV.
No, we do.
But GDP is more important, believe it or not, a minus 24%, even though I'm not saying who it is because of. A lot of people are like, it's not the government fault, it's the corona ki wajah se hai. That's not the point, right? There was a glass of milk and it has spilled. Now you can say you pushed it, or the cat pushed it, or it fell down from the breeze. But the point is, the milk has spilled and there is no more milk. So, that's how to bring the milk back should be the question, rather than who did it or who didn't do it. And I think a minus 24% reduction means a lot of job cuts, a lot of people into poverty, a lot of business problems. Government doesn't have money. Huge. You're already seeing the government can't pay the states. Yesterday they said to all the states, the central government owes the states money in the GST. They have a formula, and the government said, nahi hai boss. Pocket money nahi milegi states ko.
But look, why can't we play blame game? I don't understand why we can't question these, like the whole Prashant Bhushan issue, for example. In the end, of course, the Supreme Court thankfully just gave a 1 rupee fine and I presume did the right thing. I can't understand why, and you're a writer, why can't we ask questions and criticize, and why can't we blame the government? Who do we blame? Corona is a world global thing, but the governments of the world maybe have not reacted correctly. I really feel we've gone.
Yeah, we had a very long. It's hindsight, but why was the lockdown for that long?
That's right.
So
that's exactly the question.
Yeah, and why? What did we gain? Because we have 80,000 cases now. That time we had like some 800, and they said that if we don't do this, the cases will rise, and then the healthcare system will just burst.
Collapse.
But 80,000 cases, it's not burst.
It's not burst, and it rose anyway. So if it's going to rise anyway, we might as well try and get on with it and, cut our losses along the way rather than stay inside a house.
Or for example, when the migrant labor, like we said, okay, there's a lockdown, but when we saw migrant labor walking, why didn't we say, you know what, chalo 4 din ke liye train khol rahe hain phir se? Because, that seemed like the right thing to do. And we didn't. And now, with 80,000 cases, we are opening so many things, right? We're opening everything now. Right. Unlock 4.
So what you're saying is we're just chasing our tail in animal terms.
I think somewhere down the line, we have to firstly decide what we can and cannot do. Maybe the intention was not bad. We also wanted to be of international standard when it came to controlling corona with lockdowns. But, rich countries like a London or like a UK, they do a lockdown. They also have a GDP reduction, but they already have good roads made. They already have airports. Their infrastructure is there. And they already are richer. So a rich man losing 20% versus a poor man losing 20%, which is already hand to mouth, is a big difference. And we are building our infrastructure. Now that won't get built because we don't have money. And those guys, they still have the infrastructure. So when it bounces back, they'll be ready. So
it's already bouncing back. The cafes and pubs and all are full.
Who's doing the best right now, Cyrus?
Who?
China.
Yeah.
China is doing so well that they are not telling the numbers to the world. Because they don't want the people to abuse them that अरे यार हमें फंसा के खुद कितने मजे कर रहे हो. But if you look at whatever data is coming out of China economic, there is no reduction in the quarter that we had -24. They are positive. The whole world is negative. They are positive.
Wow.
They are doing so well.
And it's only 8-9 months from the time it hit them. It's amazing.
Yeah, they never really, they never really did a full country lockdown. No? They only did Wuhan lockdown. So they did it for a few days, the rest a couple of cities more, and then the country wasn't really, they didn't have this issue. And we are not very clear what we are
I think that would have been a better system. Their lockdown would come and go. They do a short burst and then you carry on again. You sort of clean up and then you carry on.
I mean, the lockdown and its benefits, it's not very clear. It may sound very strict, but that doesn't mean that it's the same like, you can have beer on flights now, but you can't have wine. अच्छे बच्चे बनना है. अच्छे बच्चे बनने से नहीं कोरोना जाता है. It's a lockdown. But it's actually the face mask and the social distancing is known to have had a huge effects on controlling corona. And I think that's the best India could do. India should make sure that, this people have to do. I mean, this you have to make it culturally, socially, कि भाई mask लगाना है और ऐसे झपियाँ नहीं डालनी अभी. And then you get on with life because at least you save the economy.
But social distancing is antithesis to our DNA. I've grown up with people touching me everywhere when I walk on the road and all. I enjoy that now. I miss it, in fact. It's not good. I know,
we all miss being touched.
Yeah. Sometimes I can see us hanging around at Kulava.
Or like getting a free massage in the local packed train from
there you
church.
Go. Exactly.
So by Bandra, you will have a massage.
Do you think we and the world to some extent have been too conservative?
I think different people have different affordability to be conservative. If you're a very rich country, you can be conservative. If I don't need to work for 2 years, I can lock myself in my house in Singapore if I want. But if I am not, I'm just somebody who works hard and still has to make money to feed my family. I can't afford that. India is in that category. If you want to be like Sweden, then make money like Sweden. I mean, make India...
Or take out from the defense budget and give everybody in the country money.
You just have to focus on the economy. You have to then realize that we haven't focused on the economy last 10 years. Say we are growing at 4%. If we had grown at 8-10%, we'd be richer, compound interest-wise. We are not rich. Now we're not rich, then we have limited options. We can only do so much. The rich guy can chill at home and the poor guy can maximum wear a mask and go to work. And that's what we have to find our own plan. We cannot copy plans. And I think that is happening now. India is not doing any of what the West is doing because they know we can't.
They've already wasted time trying to copy them.
Minus 24% ke baad, I can guarantee you there will never be a lockdown in India again.
But 6 months of no salary or half salaries and things like that across the board in India, that impact will, you're talking about not getting jobs and all that, but things like restaurants and all who have EMIs and payments to be made, I mean, they'll just sink.
they already have sunk, and a lot of industries, businesses will shut down, which means all the employees lose jobs. It's not like they'll say 20% firing or 50% salary reduction. Once a company is bankrupt, it's just gone. And that is happening. If you see minus 24, agriculture was still kind of okay. It was like a little plus. But the manufacturing, which is the bulk of where the urban population is hired, was down 49%. Travel, holidays down a lot, hotels down a lot. So many businesses are just down and they are gone. And government collects money based on GDP. I mean, they have taxes on that. And the government money won't come. Government won't be able to pay salaries. So you wait and see. And it will just lead to one negative spiral, because once people in the cities are poor, they can't pay the farmers for the crops. So the crop prices will drop. That means the agriculture will also drop. So unless we do something about it and say, you know what, maybe we should stop doing this Hindu-Muslim for a few years and focus on the economy. I know it's really difficult, because sometimes I feel Indians don't want to be rich. Sometimes
maybe also stop building statues and things like that. We have to divert.
See, I think, we are not, India is no longer that poor that when we were children, we used to hear Indian poverty meant fate kapde and khana nahi hai, ek waqt ki roti nahi mil rahi. That poor is gone. Even if you saw the migrant labor walking, they had a phone, they had proper shirt and pants, which is nice. Indian abject poverty is gone from India.
They were on Insta as they passed away. It's a different society.
It's weird. Yeah, but it means people can afford food usually, and people have cheap data, right? But food and data में Indian खुश है कि भाई मैं अपने छोले भटूरे खरीद सकता हूँ ना, तो क्या जरूरत है मेरे को और होने की, अब चलो हिंदू मुस्लिम खेलते हैं, and that is leading. I feel we have become in this comfort zone where we are not like absolute poverty, but we are okay with like as long as भूखे नहीं मर रहे तो ठीक है, थोड़ा कम में रह लेंगे, हाँ आधी रोटी खा लेंगे, लेकिन मंदिर की बात करो और हिंदू मुस्लिम की बात करो, या केस सॉल्व करेंगे बॉलीवुड के हम बैठ के. But that means that the new generation doesn't get jobs. That means our infrastructure never gets made. Roads, trains will never improve. Hospitals will never improve. Education institutes of government will never improve. So India has to decide. But छोले भटूरे खा सकते हो, छोले भटूरे सस्ते हैं, डोसा भी खा सकते हो अगर खाना है तो. उसमें अगर इंडिया का खाना बहुत टेस्टी है, I think there's another problem. It's too good, Cyrus. Even if it's okay, minus 24%, but आज शाम को छोले भटूरे बने हैं प्याज के साथ, you will forget about minus 24.
Well, the old days they'd give them daru, but you're right. It'll be chole bhature for now.
It's bad for you, but hey, it feels good.
Limited consumption, it's fine. Before we go into the AMAs, how does Chetan Bhagat feel as an author over how many years now? 15, 20, 17 years, I think almost.
Yeah, 17 years.
17 years of writing. You left a corporate job. You turned your head. An IIT boy who turned away from what we call the middle class path, which was all correct in your case. And you've come 17 years into another direction altogether. How do you feel it is the right thing? Are you happy? I know you're successful, but are you happy doing this?
Yeah, I'm very happy. I mean, there is that little bit of uncertainty because of Corona that like this year. But I think one of the reasons I've been survived for so long is because I've constantly adapted. I mean, even today, I am the only author releasing a book in a pandemic. In a way that has given me, because I have the social media presence, I have the online sales, I have a ability to make a promo like we did for the book, which is enough, which can be digitally distributed. I don't have to do an actual book launch and I can still release a book. And there is no competition, literally, because nobody else is releasing the book. So I think that makes me feel very satisfied that I've always evolved. Like when I started, there was no social media. Today, I'm very active on social media. When I started, there was no thing of Chetan Bhagat coming on TV or things like that. But I think I knew that books will have a place, but I have to evolve to other mediums like films and television and social media. So I think that has led to me being where I am today. And I must always remember that I have to keep changing. And as long as I'm doing that, I feel very happy because I've never gotten trapped into one thing, so that's good. Yeah, I'm happy.
When your jealous critics say things like Chetan Bhagat ko spelling nahi aati hai, that kind of thing, what do you say to the literati, the critics? The critics.
Well, I just want to say to them that they're not going to have a lit fest for a very long time.
That's true.
So I am still releasing a book, but तुम्हारी नजर तुम्हें खुद लगी है. तुम लोग बहुत ये कहाँ बोलते थे ये सब lit fest वगैरह में जाके बोलते थे ना, which were sponsored by pan masala companies and
yes,
like right-wing television channels. So, but they're leaving that irony aside, they're just not going to be that many places which lit press for a very long time, boss. So आप उनकी चिंता करो, मेरे spelling की चिंता मत करो. We
It's
have
called spell
7
check. You don't need to
editors.
spell anymore.
I have 7 editors, all top editors. My books in Rupa, when I was there, David Davidar used to read and check my books. He discovered Vikram Seth. What are even people talking? I sometimes use certain spellings which are used by
Colloquially.
locals. Yeah, so the people don't understand. That's actually a harder book to edit. It's very easy to do a correct English, but correct English is not how people talk. So, अब उनको ये पता होता तो फिर बात ही आती. They should wait for the next lit fest.
Like in Marathi, it's spelled P-H-U-C-K, not F-U-C-K. For example.
Yeah. For example, so if I'm a Marathi boy, then I will talk like that and they'll be like all confused. But yeah, so I think they should wait for the next lit fest in 2030. It will happen.
Although I miss the lit fest, yaar. You're talking about chole bhature and dosa posa and all. At least there's free khana. Now that's gone for some time. God knows when we'll get it back.
That is true. Abhi, now you have to order online. इसके बाद right after call you can order on Zomato.
I will. But let's quickly mention it's one arranged murder. It's how would we describe it? As a quirky murder mystery?
Yeah, as a humor, romantic, light murder mystery. Yeah.
Light murder mystery, which is a bit where we are in the world with a light bimari, which is not going anywhere. In the meantime, let's move on to the AMAs. Chetan's in a hurry. He's in Singapore, Discipline Society. Everything goes on time. They actually follow the time there. Time is a concept, not like here.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Intel, for coming back to us. We love our sponsors. If you'd like to be one of them, do reach out. So, really, really cool week on the network this week, right? Started off with a bang. Abhijit Ganguly was on Cyrus Says. Funny comedian. I think you guys will enjoy that. We had Dimant Parekh on advertising his death. Dimant's the founder of Better India. Govindraj Athiraj is also on Uncle Please Sit this week. That's a really fascinating show which they talk about fake news. On the Habit Coach, there was a crossover event with Aditi Surana from Absolutely Right. I think you definitely enjoyed that. And last but not least, definitely a show I'd love you all to check out. We have a new show called This Round Is On Me. It's hosted by Gauri Devi Dayal. If you remember, Gauri and I worked on a show together called The Kolaba Cartel a while ago. Fun show. If you haven't checked that out, do check that out. But this is a show where she's talking to a lot of different people in the food space. Her first guest is Harsh Mariwala, legend in his own time. I think you will really, really enjoy that show. With that, let me get you back to your show.
Follow me at Instagram and Twitter on Bored Brocha. I'm so bored, I need your help. I need your love. I need your touch. Okay, just follow me. Silvery, welcome back to our show. And what is the EMA that we have?
The first question comes in from Aman Jagtav. He asks, hello Cyrus and guest. Was there ever a time in your life you weren't sure what to do with your life? Of course, this lockdown hasn't helped in making this decision any easier. But do you guys think the follow your passion approach that people have been citing all these years is still the way to go? Or should I go for a safer career option? I know it's difficult to have answers about this stuff right now, but I'd love to hear your suggestions.
I think, Chetan, this is exactly for you. I mean, you've written the book on this, basically.
Yeah.
You left the safe approach and you took a chance.
I think that will never go away. It's just obviously during the middle of a pandemic, you can only take so many risks. So right now, yes, I agree. Nobody's going to do crazy thing. And depends on your background and all. If you have rich dad, like if you are like Akash Ambani and you want to live your passion, I think you can. But I think if your dad is not that rich, then you have to...
But nobody's dad is that rich, Chetan. That's
I know.
A club of one person.
Only like Jeff Bezos.
Does he have a kid? I don't even know.
I'm sure he does.
He may have ordered one kid on Amazon.
That's true. We should check. But so I think you have to be balanced. You have to wait this out and build skills. But that will always remain. People, if you take more risks, if you take more, go after your passion, the chance of you getting more returns or being happier are more. So I think, but yes, in the middle of a pandemic, it's kind of difficult. So you keep a plan B, safe path as well.
But you yourself didn't do that. You yourself turned from IT and a corporate career where you're doing absolutely fine.
But I married a banker and she was my safety thought.
You had your own Ambani plan.
So मेरा अपना mini Ambani में लेके आया.
Okay. All right. Next one, bro.
Next one comes in from Dushyant R. So his introduction is quite long, so I'll just read a bit of that and then go to the main question. He says, hi Cyrus and guest. Long-time listener here and forever indebted to Cyrus's rants. When Cyrus starts his rants on morning walkers, neighbors, traffic and people, I say, may the force be with you. You sir are a legend, a rant ratna, which is a kind of cool,
Nice
quite
phrase,
cool
yeah.
a phrase.
Hmm.
Yeah. He says, my question to you is, how do you think the regular panelists on news channels, like the Major on Arnab's show, prepare for their roles? How are they selected? Do you think news channels have a casting director on payroll for this ensemble cast?
You're absolutely right. I think there has to be an audition process
Yeah,
because they are
I
very
can
high
actually give you
quality.
some insight on that.
And you've been a panelist very often.
Yeah. So I now, now I generally go for not these noisy debates. I've told them, don't call me. I won't come. I go for election counting day, which is kind of that day you can't fight because that the numbers are coming. Now, what are you going to fight about? Or I'll go for some weekend discussion on the economy and all. I'm happy to go for that. There's not much fight. But I think what I've seen is they test a few people and then they see who's most histrionic, who's most hysterical. Aggressive, who's a nautanki basically. And there are nautanki points. And then there are some points for the sense you say, but that's like a 20%, or 80% is on personality. And if you are somebody who gets triggered on anything, either right, left, it doesn't matter. That will get you a regular employment. And you will get anything from like 2,000 if you're very not that known to 5,000. Pehle 10, maybe 5,000 rupees they send you afterwards if you do a good, nice dance show for them, like a nice screaming match for them, and then you will keep getting invited. Just you have TV, TV, the medium is you have to keep talking. You can't just be like.
Yeah, also, I think what people don't know is post the debate, there's a man of the panel awards ceremony, which is not telecast. And the best panelist, who's basically the worst panelist, is given that prize. But Chetan, when you're on these things, when you've been on and they're all abusing, shouting and screaming, what happens actually post it? Supposing aapke saath ek halka sa lafra hua, personal lafra, whatever, over something. Post it, I'm told that everybody is really friendly. It's like a game of cricket.
So I'll tell you what is very ironic. Like sometimes, like for election day I go now, so they're there for a long time and if they're fighting, then the snacks room is the same for everyone. So everybody fights and they all go and are eating from the same buffet. This is very funny. So
and the body language changes off camera.
We are picking up the same idlis. So it's a bit odd. And there when you sit and you're eating together, you can't, like, what do you do? Are you supposed to give each other dirty looks? Are you supposed to? So mostly people are able to separate and they know that it's a show and they are all trained and then the camera goes off. They're all chill. But some people really take it very seriously and they keep on fighting and then others say, "Arey boss, camera band ho gaya abhi. Bahut ho gaya." So, yeah, the snacks room is the best place to be. There it's like, oh, right wing and left wing are eating together. Why can't we all be like this always?
But right wing is eating desi food and left wing is eating Western food. There's all these little problems that start soon.
वो भी हो सकता है. But I go to Times and Times is full veg, by the way.
I know. Full veg. I've been there. I've packed food quietly and gone inside. But Chetan, all said and done, will you write a book on the underbelly of the television news?
Even in this book, even in this murder mystery, and even the next one, any high-profile case goes to the media, and the media distorts it. So I think that media distortion is there even in One Arranged Murder. Yes,
because it's reached a ridiculous. During lockdown with this SSR case and all that, it's reached a ridiculous, proportion. The COVID has gone out of the window and they distracted everyone.
It's still on, and now they said we don't want Mumbai police, we want CBI. They got CBI, they got the Supreme Court involved, they got Patna police, they got every place. They're all excellent institutions. They all got involved. Now they've got CBI. Now you want them to solve the case, or you want to solve it on TV tonight?
Yeah.
तो डिसाइड कर लो, फिर उनको क्यों टाइम वेस्ट कर रहे हो? अब उनको ले आए हो तो किस लिए लाए हो? अब उनको या तो करने दो या फिर बोलो कि आज शाम को ही हम करेंगे फैसला. आज शाम को टीवी पे बैठ के डिनर के टाइम सब जब दाल रोटी खा रहे हैं बैठ के डिसाइड करने वाले हो, then why calling CBI?
Vote for who killed. Vote for the cartel.
Whatever criteria or whoever shouts is the winner.
Or why do we just appoint that one gentleman as head of all the institutions of India? That one gentleman who...
See, everybody I think is itching to write a murder mystery because they all are telling on TV, ये हुआ होगा, 8 बजे लाइट बंद हुई, 9 बजे पड़ोसी आया, 10 बजे ड्राइवर आया. All great stories. But if you go to court with a story, the court will say, boss, क्या हो रहा है? Court will say, I need evidence. That nobody has given for 2 months. There is no evidence for 2 months.
There is no real evidence.
If there was, to pata
tell me, Chetan,
this is pure. But stories to I write, na. So if everybody wants to write a murder mystery, then you write one. I am at least honest enough to say I like writing murder stories and I've written it. But these people are coming on TV and saying, I think this is what has happened. Arey bhai, show me the evidence. Prove it that this happened.
If there is no evidence, after dragging this woman in the mud for so many months, and her family and others, you think there'll be apologies at the end of it? No, no? They'll just go on to the next story.
No, they will just go. I mean, I think we have to firstly, Cyrus, it's very important as a country, we solve this case before January, because then Virat and Anushka are having a kid. So we need to keep the media free for that.
I would say a little earlier, because we tour Australia. That's going to happen. So December 6th is the first test match.
There is a lot of pressure on the media. They have to also do it. So abhi kar lenge, because we can't have a murder case and happy news of the child
at the same time.
So iska faisla aa jayega.
Wow, excellent. Okay. All right, Chetan, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, buddy.
Mention one arranged murder. He's sitting there in Singapore counting the dollars as book after book outsells the last one. More power to you. Hope to see you and hear from you soon. And next time we'll discuss only politics when you're free.
Sure. बिल्कुल,
Right.
we'll do दिल की बात and मन की बात. पेट की बात भी करेंगे क्यों भूख लग रही है मुझे अब.
Now that you mention it, the toy industry is being given a lot of boost. The Prime Minister has mentioned that we have to get back to toys. So I'm going to go play with something. I suggest you all do the same. हाँ जी, मैं दिखाऊंगा बाद में. Not on camera. Okay. Bye.
With your toys, Cyrus.
Yes, that's all we have. See you guys.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps, please. We beg you, we need you. Send us your questions on Twitter on Cyrus Says In. Or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
Entertainment is like food for the brain. It's a window to culture and a great way to understand the world around us. The internet has changed what it means to be an entertainer, creating new storytellers with millions of fans. It has spawned a new breed, the story sellers, those behind the scenes creating the business for this ecosystem. They work with brands, platforms and channels who are keen to capitalize on an audience hungrier than ever for more stories. I'm Vineet Kanabar, and I have a ringside view to how stories are told and sold. On my show, I bring you creators, artists, executives and marketers for a freewheeling conversation around the business of entertainment. Tune in to Storytellers and Story Sellers for personal stories, analysis and criticism every Thursdays as I talk to the brightest minds telling or selling great stories today.
Janice, what do you think couples did before TV was invented?
I don't know, go for walks on the beach, long drives, fancy dinners, have more sex maybe?
But what did we do when we decided to move in together? We debated between the Chromecast and the Fire Stick.
We gave up on sleeping early so we could stay up watching true crime shows.
We got ourselves 3 cat babies.
And basically became the cutest couch potatoes around.
Okay then.
In case you guys still haven't got it, we are a TV crazy, Netflix loving, binge watching Mr. and Mrs.
I'm Anirudh Kuha.
I'm Janice Sequeira.
And if like us, you snort TV for breakfast, lunch and dinner, this is the podcast for you.
Tune in every Thursday on the IVM podcast app or wherever it is that you get your podcast from. This is
Mr.
and Mrs.
Binge Watch.